Imagine being arrested for loving the wrong person, not because you hurt anyone, not because you committed a crime, but because the government decided your marriage should not exist. Loving Day is celebrated every year on this day, June 12th, marking the anniversary of the 1967 U.S. Supreme Court decision in Loving versus Virginia. The ruling struck down laws that prohibited marriage and relationships between people of different races. At its heart, this is a story about oppression versus love, and oppression lost. In 2010, a writer for the Time magazine described Loving Day as the largest multiracial celebration in the United States. Yet the idea for the day did not come from a politician, a judge, or a civil rights organization. It came from a design student named Ken Tanabe. As a person of mixed race heritage, Tanabe wanted to create something positive from his own experiences. In doing so, he discovered the remarkable story of a couple whose love had once been treated as a crime. That couple was Mildred Jeter and Richard Loving. The two grew up together in Caroline County, Virginia, and fell in love. In 1958, they traveled to Washington, D.C., where interracial marriage was legal, and were married. They returned home believing they had done nothing wrong. They were mistaken. Virginia law not only prohibited interracial marriage, but also made it illegal for residents to leave the state to marry and then return. Just weeks later, police entered their home in the middle of the night while they were asleep in bed. The Lovings were arrested. Their marriage was considered a criminal offense, punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Judge Leon M. Bazile sentenced them to 1 year in prison, but offered them an alternative. Leave Virginia and do not return together for 25 years. Forced from their home, they moved to Washington, D.C. Life there was difficult. They were separated from family, familiar surroundings, and the rural community they loved. They had little resources and few options. Then, in 1963, Mildred Loving decided to act. She wrote a letter to the U.S. Attorney General Robert Kennedy asking for help. That letter eventually led the couple to the American Civil Liberties Union, where two young attorneys, Bernard S. Cohen and Philip H. Hirschkopf, agreed to represent them. For years, they fought the case without charge. As the legal battle continued, Richard Loving had a simple message for the court. Tell the court I love my wife, and it is just unfair that I can't live with her in Virginia. Eventually, the case reached the United States Supreme Court. The Loving's attorneys argued that Virginia's laws violated the Constitution's guarantee of equal protection under the law. On June 12, 1967, the court issued a unanimous decision. The ruling struck down centuries of laws designed to prevent interracial marriage and relationships. Nearly 9 years after their arrest, Richard and Mildred Loving finally won the right to live together as a family in the place they called home. That decision is why Loving Day is celebrated every year on June 12th. It should be remembered not only as a victory for civil rights, but as a reminder that unjust laws can be challenged and that ordinary people can change history. The struggle against discrimination did not end with the Lovings' victory. Their story remains part of a much larger effort to confront prejudice, dismantle inequality, and defend the fundamental right to love without fear of punishment. Today, Loving Day celebrates that victory. A victory for equality, a victory for freedom, and a victory for love. This summary is based on the historical account provided by the creators of Loving Day. Personally, I believe this day carries a message that transcends borders, cultures, and generations. It reminds us that love should never be criminalized and that no government should have the power to decide who deserves the right to love another human being. Be safe.